chance again, and Sunderland have scored.
Hello, well, how we're getting on? So we're back again with another video. So I just thought I'd jump on with 6 days to go for the remainder of the transfer window, just to kind of recap and what I think the squad needs to get us towards promotion and to kind of cover us for the rest of the season. If you haven't seen it, I did a short last night on the Burnley versus Leeds game, probably one of the worst games of football I've ever seen in my life, but results wise I think it really went our way. A draw, I think, in my eyes, was a great result. Keeps us in touch with the top 3. Helps us get towards Borough on Monday after the top 3 have played again. And hopefully we can go there and get a result. And hoping them top 3 teams can drop some points and then we capitalise on Monday night. But then the transfer window, so like I said, 6 days left. I think it closes on Monday the 3rd of Feb. So I just want to have a look at the current squad and give my thoughts on where we are, and at the end I'll let you know what I think the squad needs and where we should be kind of targeting. So goalkeeping wise, we'll not sign a goalkeeper. We've currently got 3 goalkeepers in the first team: Centre Anthony Patterson, Blondie Nakui and Simon Moore. Now for me, Anthony Patterson he's not developing at the stage that we thought he would. He doesn't control his box, he's stuck on his line, he's not very vocal. His distribution has not improved in like 3 seasons. He is a good shot stopper, mind, I'll give him that, but he's a big lad, and for the size of him, he's just not commanding enough, and I just think his development is not progressing. If he's got aspirations to be a Premier League goalkeeper, he's got no chance, because you have to have good feet, you have to have good distribution, and he's got none of that. Simon Moore, not really did anything wrong. Me personally would like to see him in goal for a few games and take Patterson out for a bit. He kept 3 clean sheets in 4 when he came in October, November at the time. We won one of them and drew 3. So I like Simon Moore, and I think he should be given a bit more of a chance. Blondie Nakui was not really seeing much of him, apart from pre-season. Seen him in a few games in the 21s, but he looks a decent prospect for me. If we were to get to the Premier League, I'd be looking at somebody like Stokes, Victor Johansson. He's impressed me in all the 3 games that we've seen him this season. He's looked really good. He's a good shot stopper. He's a safe pair of hands, commands his box. And for me, he's the type of player I will be targeting, but will not be signing a goalkeeper in January. Now, defenders, so full-backs, Trey Hume, got no competition for his place. We've got no cover there if he's injured, apart from probably Luke O'Nien. So for me, I'd definitely be looking at trying to strengthen the full-back areas. Dennis Cirkin, again, no competition for his place, with Adji Alicia and Niall Huggins out for the season. Leo Helder could probably play there, but you heard the groans on Saturday when he came on against Plymouth. Fans have got no faith in him, and he's not really fulfilled into the player that we thought he was going to be. And Dennis Cirkin is out of form as well. So for me, we could easily strengthen 2 full-back areas, at least cover for Trey Hume and somebody who will push Dennis Cirkin. Centre-halves, and so Luke O'Nien, the big debate over him is, should he be in, should he be not? What I will say about Luke O'Nien is he brings a lot of energy to the side. He helps us when we're playing out from the back, and he helps us get that quick tempo. I just feel there's always a bit of a mistake or a penalty giveaway in him. He's always got that in him. So when everybody's fit, he probably wouldn't get in the side for me, but I'll cover that at the end of the video. Chris Mepham, been an absolute rock since he signed from Bournemouth on loan. For me, if we get promoted, or even if we don't get promoted, we should be looking to sign him permanently, because he's an absolute class act. Didn't have such a good game against Plymouth, but for me, he's a great centre-half. Dan Ballard, just coming back from fitness. I think if everybody's fit, I think I would like to see him at the heart of defence alongside Chris Mepham. 2 natural defenders, 2 natural centre-halves. And at this stage of the season, clean sheets could prove vital. We've seen Burnley not conceding goals, and it gives you the platform to then get on and nick games 1-0. And as for us, we're not scoring loads of goals. We're creating chances but not scoring them. To shore up that defence is probably what we need a bit more. Just mentioned Leo Helder, he's not good enough from what I've seen. Still young, but lacks strength and I think he's defensively poor. So for me, he's not really one who should be anywhere near the first team. He's only young still, but for me, he's not good enough. Niall Huggins, when I was injured, out for the season. Agialisi is now out for the season. Joe Anderson is out on loan at the moment, but for him, he'll probably move on permanently somewhere in the end of the season. He's never really forced his way into any first team reckoning. Jensen Seelt is just coming back from injury as well. The jury is still out about him. You know, is he good enough to make the grade at the club? We'll have to wait and see, but he's not really shown, apart from a brief spell before he got injured, of what he can do. So, you know, I'd definitely like to see cover for right back and left back if we can. But Regis Lebris has already said that we probably won't be signing a defender in the window, which is quite worrying for me, because if we do lose Dennis Cirkin, or if we do lose Trey Hume, you know, we're going to be really, really struggling, because we'll end up probably playing Luke O'Nien right back and Leo Hield left back, and that's, to me, is not a good enough defence at this level to get you promoted. Now in midfield, Dan Neil, captain, still a big debate about him as well. Personally, I think being captain has affected his game this season. I think, you know, it's weighed too much on his shoulders, but he still seems to be guaranteed a start no matter how poorly he's played. And he sometimes seems to be above criticism sometimes, just because he's a local lad, and you know, and this sort of stuff, because he had some shocking performances this season. Now he's been playing back in that defensive midfield position, and against Plymouth, him and Joe played further forward, which didn't really work, so he'll have to really adjust to that. If he's going to start playing there, he's going to have to readjust to playing that little bit further forward. Now, Regis Lebris, again, I think he said that Dan Neil will take a bit of time to get accustomed to that role again. So does that mean that he thinks Samed is going to play more of a role in the second half of the season? Job, fantastic player. Speculation around him for Bayer Leverkusen and Borussia Dortmund. I've got a feeling there might be a big bid comes in for him before the end of January, but I hope not. I think he wants to stay as well, so I'm hoping he's going to stay. But what a player, and what a change in from last season. Chris Rigg, I've said in recent weeks he looks burnt out. I think the rest, we took him out against Plymouth, and I think that'll do him the world of good. But as a prospect, we know what he's like. He's going to be a fantastic player in the future, and he's a one that we have to keep as well, similar to Job. Alan Brown, not really set the place alight since he came in. Steady player. Just coming back from injury. He should be back from his broken leg in a few weeks or so. But again, I'm not too sure if he would even get into the team if he's fit anyway. Abdul Samed, just come into the squad from injury. Only started his first game on Saturday against Plymouth. He did look neat and tidy, but you know, it's too early to judge him, I'm sure. But I just don't know if he's going to be up to speed quick enough to have that much of an impact in these last 17 games. Now I think Lebris likes him, and I think he is going to play there, so we'll have to wait and see about the team on Monday against Middlesbrough if he's in the squad. But I think he's probably more of a one to come off the bench last 15-20 minutes when you're trying to protect the lead. So I'm not too sure he's going to be fit enough or have the fitness to make an impact in these last 17 games. Alexic looks a right player and a right prospect. I'm disappointed that we haven't seen more of him, to be honest. Whenever I've seen him play, he looks really, really good. He scored a great goal for the under-21s against Benfica B the other week. And I think, and I would sign him as a prospect. We paid £3 million for him, but I thought he would have had more of an impact and would have had a bit more game time than he has seen so far. Enzo Lafay looks a class act, but we need to play him in the middle of the park. He struggled in the second half, especially against Plymouth. We know how good of a player he is. We've got this option to buy of £20 million. So for me, we have to try and get him in that middle of the park where he can influence games more. He's now getting up to speed, and now he could be the pivotal cog in that midfield to unlock defences when we're struggling. So great signing. Now Patrick Roberts, now he seems to me to have getting steadily worse as the season's gone on. And I've said before, he's good on the eye, but offers very, very little in terms of outputting goals and assists. In 125 games, he's only got 9 goals and 15 assists, which is not good enough at all for me. There's a reason why he's constantly been moved on from clubs he's been at. This is the longest spell he's ever had at the club, so I just think for me, his time at the club could possibly be up, and I'm not impressed from him at all. But because he's got that he hasn't got any competition apart from Paveda, who's done now, you know what I mean. So For me, I'm not impressed with Patty Robertson. I'd love to see us sign a right winger, but possibly should have been Oliver Morgan Whittaker when he went to Middlesbrough. Adil Sheesh, he showed glimpses in recent weeks, but realistically he isn't good enough, and probably if there's an option for him to leave in January, he probably will, I think. But he has had some good cameo appearances and shows himself as a good squad player. Abdullah Bar, completely out of favour. He'll probably leave in January. He's not for me either. Hasn't really shown enough to make it on where side at the club. So, like I say, targets, I would love to have seen a side of right winger. We've got Mundle and we've got Tommy Watson coming back shortly as well on the left hand side, and we've missed them. But for me, that right wing area is a massive issue, and Morgan Whittaker might have been a great signing to fit that side of the pitch. Now, forwards, Elijah Mienda, done very well this season. Always offers something different. He's fast, he's lightning, but he's been used out of position on that right wing sometimes, which is not his game. He's much more better and much more effective through the middle, but it's how you fit him into the team. Wilson Isidore, he's quickly established himself as a fan's favourite. You know, he's got 9 goals this season. Some of them, some spectacular ones as well. And I think he's the one that we'll probably need to sign, I think, if we can. Really, really like him. He's strong. Got an eye for goal, even though he's not an out-and-out striker. Now, Ian Paveda, for me, being a total waste of a signing, waste of a weird. He's only made 3 substitute appearances and been injured the rest of that time. He could have provided competition for Roberts on that right-hand side, but and I scored a goal for the under-21s the week. If he's fit, I would like to see him given some time off the bench, and hopefully if he's good enough, then he might take Roberts' place, but I've got no faith in him staying fit for the remainder of the season. And Ahmed Abdullahi, just coming back from injury, you know, nowhere near the first team picture at the minute. We probably might see him at the back end of the season. I know he's played a couple of games for the 21s. We might get him on the bench in the upcoming weeks, but we didn't know really much about him. He looks a big unit. He looks fast as well. So, but for me, we still need to sign an experienced centre forward. Jefferson Bennett, another one completely out of favour. Will probably leave if the option comes along in January. Nazeri Russian's gone to Hajduk Split with the option to buy of 2.1 million. Hasn't really worked out for Russian here. Struggle with the language, struggle to get game time, so that's probably a good move. And if we can recoup the money what we spent on him, then all being well. Like I say, we've got Romain Mundle, Tommy Watson coming back as well on the left hand side. 2 great prospects. Mundle's been a revelation since he came to the squad, since Jack Clark left, and Tommy Watson did likewise when Romain Mundle got injured. So it's been a blow not having them on that left hand side, but I can't wait to get them back in the team. So targets, and so personally for me, I think we need a left back to cover and, you know, push Dennis Cirkin, a right winger to take Roberts' place if possible, and a centre forward, an out-and-out goal scorer to convert all these chances that hopefully Lafay is going to create in the remaining games of the season. Now, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Would you want any more signings? What do you think we need to boost this squad to get us towards this promotion push for the end of the season? I think my possible team at the moment, if everybody's fit, you know, and ready to play, would probably be something like this. Now, I'll probably get shot to bits for this, but I would have Simon Moore in goal. I would have Trey Hume, Chris Mepham, Dan Ballard and Dennis Cirkin as a back 4. In midfield, I'd have Job and Chris Rigg, with Enzo Lafay playing at the front of that 3. I'd then have Ian Paveda on the right, Romain Mundle on the left, and Wilson Isidore up front. That's just my personal opinion. Now, I know there's arguments for having that 2 up front. You could possibly change that round if you wanted to, you know, and make it a 4 in midfield, and play, you know, Mienda up front, possibly in place of Rigg. But that's just my personal opinion of what I would do in the coming weeks, just to change things up a little bit. I think we're just getting a bit stale. You know, Dan Neil guaranteed his place. Roberts, you know, and he's been in and out the side recently, but I think he's just not cutting it for me. But that's just my personal opinion. Then it'll give us a strong bench then, because we'll have the likes of Luke O'Nien, Tommy Watson, Milan Alexic, you know, Elijah Mienda, Samed, you know, and them type of players, and Dan Neil to come off the bench if need be. Now, current transfer rumours, you know, Matthias Frigan, that loan with the option to buy, something like 12 or 13 million, I think, still ongoing. Louis Barry, that we've been linked with, looks like he's going to Hull. Chuba Akpom will be a cracking sign in my eyes if I could get him. It's still, you know, rumours ongoing, rumoured to be £8 million, but there's been contrasting reports that Hayes doesn't want to come, but then the next report is we've practically signed him, so we'll have to wait and see. We've also been linked with a kid called Semeth Kilskoy from Besiktas, but that one I think is highly unlikely. He's a highly rated player over in Turkey. I think he plays for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's new team, but Newcastle have been linked with him and all, I think, as well, so I'd be very surprised if that one comes off. Out, like I said, Job being linked with Bayer Leverkusen and Borussia Dortmund. I'm hoping it's not going to happen, and I think it'll take a massive fee in January to take him away from Sunderland. And obviously Dan Neil as well has been linked with the moves to West Ham and Everton. I think £15 million being touted. I think if somebody offered £15 million for me, that would tempt me to sell Dan Neil, I think. I'm just a nice, still a young bro. I just don't know if he can make that step up to the Premier League. I might be wrong, but that's just my personal opinion. But that's just my personal opinion. I think what we need in the transfer window: a right winger, a right back, and a left back, if we can get them in. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. You know, who do you think we should get? Who should we go for? Should we have gone for Morgan Whittaker? And I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Now watch out for the match preview coming out for the Middlesbrough game, probably on Friday because we're playing Monday night. And until then, like I always say, thanks for watching. Take it easy, stay safe, and we'll speak soon. Ta-ra.